Hi everybody, it's Maha here from Embody Birth, and I want to continue today to read to you from my blogs, which are part of a series of looking at birth as a spiritual practice. So as many of you know, that is the way in which I like to look at the lens of birth as a spiritual practice. So, just waiting a moment. So today's blog is called Curiosity and Harmonics as Birth Preparation. And as mentioned, it is in the series of my blogs that looks at birth as a spiritual practice. I've been teaching Embody Birth, a movement, spiritual and energetic focused childbirth preparation program since 1997. And in this program, we use the principles of belly dance birth as a platform of guidance to engage with one's inner wisdom and connection to our babies. We weave together creative exercises in and around through the childbirth education that supports the way in which birth unfolds from the feminine perspective at center. So essentially, we use the language of the feminine for birth. My offerings work to access emotional and energetic states of inquiry into the mother's physical body and its relationship to herself, her baby, her environment, and her life. In order for one's physical body to surrender and open for birth, one needs to have an awareness of emotional and energetic states as they interplay with mind, heart, body, and spirit. We flow as harmonics and constriction. We look for protection, we look for release, or some other state along the spectrum of these emotional configurations. We also have to integrate our mother line and her stories, processing many aspects of ourselves that we have inherited. The idea of embodied birth is to firstly understand this vast integration and create safe spaces of allowance, so in pregnancy, mothers have an opportunity to feel rather than think their navigation as they are led into the birthing gateway. There is no judgment or criticism, only space for wonderment and curiosity, asking of the self, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Then there is an opportunity through the beautiful dance movements and open free space to wander into the corridors of these emotional and energetic spaces with our baby. It is here, when we are fully supported within our autonomy, that the softening and caressing of our internal landscape can take place, and the body will respond to this dance of life in a way that it feels most conducive in each and every moment. And this is something that birth keepers and people who work in the birth field with women in labour need to really understand, that it is a woman with her baby that interchange those messages they receive together through softening, caressing, opening that inner landscape that is taking place in the physical body through the movements of birth will in each moment guide us to where we need to be. No one will birth in the same way, and this is the problem that we have. We are saying that there is this uniform way of giving birth and everybody must birth in this way. Otherwise, if you don't, we will intervene in some way or another. we don't understand the individuality of that journey of birth. We need to, as people know, I often always speak about, we need to have patience for the birth process. It is a spiritual unveiling. It is a spiritual unveiling. That is the path we are on when we give birth. It is a rite of passage journey. And that is why you cannot mandate or dictate how it's going to look for every woman, because of our own journey, our own unfolding, our own excavation into our emotional world. That looks different for everybody. When we can understand birth is a spiritual practice, that is when we're going to change the birthing environment. And that is what my work is about. Birth is like this. It needs times of space and then recoil within the emotional body in order for the physical body to respond as its own integrity within the integration. The baby also dances its own tune in relation to itself, as well as its mother's configuration and influence within her environment. So the internal environment and the external environment of birth has an impact on how the baby perceives and feels the birth process as well. No one can preempt or rush a mystical process and place it in a setup, then place pressure on the mother with her baby, who together are a living, breathing, pulsating force, moving with life force, and expect her and her baby to jump to your demands. Birth does not work to jumping to other people's demands or pressures upon you. This is very, very basic understanding of the environment that's required for birthing. So, we understand that we birth from our primal brain, our reptilian brain, not from the neocortex. So when we have to shut off that neocortex in order for the primal brain to engage, we need an environment that understands what that looks and feels like. And birth keepers and birth professionals who work in the labouring wards, the midwives, the doulas, the doctors, the obstetricians, must implicitly understand what this environment must look and feel like to a mother and baby. And again, every mother and baby is individual on this journey. You cannot dictate the exact requirement for each one. We as birth keepers need to be very intuitive and very connected to our own energetic and spiritual line in our bodies in order to understand what that particular mother and baby need in those moments as birth unfolds. Sometimes when we are with a mother through the rhythmic birthing journey, we need to tune in and immerse in the stillness of time and the pulsing of her breath in order to understand what and whom she is responding to. There can be moments as magnificent as a mountain or as subtle as a gentle breeze. Birth is akin to a poem of life's longing to reveal its heart. I love that line. Birth is akin to a poem of life's longing to reveal its heart. It is time we stopped exploiting its beauty and started to feel its aesthetics and support women in their choices by providing birth education that explores these kinds of understandings. And when we do, this will benefit all of us as we too immerse in the spiritual practice of patience, of acceptance, and of compassion. Mothers and babies need our gentle, mindful presence. This is not about you. This is about the mother and baby's experience, the father, the partner, the family. And when a woman can truly feel that she was seen and heard in birth, this is her gift to the world. This is what she gives the world with. That presence that was given to her is the presence that she gives and gives the world with. And it is in this presence that love sits. It is in this presence of true vulnerability that our hearts will open. And that is why I see birth as a spiritual practice. The world needs birth to be placed on the throne of nobility. The time has come, and the time is now. So when I look at my own birth experiences, my 3 normal, unmedicated, physiological births, and I ask myself, what did I learn? What did I learn? I learned about myself as a woman. I was able to face all of my vulnerabilities, all of my joys, all of my challenges, every emotion that sat inside of my body. I was able to face, to greet, to work with, to excavate to, in order to discover who am I in the world. So when I talk about birth as a spiritual practice, it is a practice of self-inquiry, just in the same way as we meditate, as we do these other somatic modalities. I have always said, can you imagine if we looked upon birth with curiosity and harmonics and see the interplay of these energies that birth brings to us for mothers, and we respected this and we had dignity for this somatic process that is happening all over the planet. So many women in this very moment giving birth, and if we afforded them this beauty, this meditation that is birth, this spirituality, how different might the world look, and the relationship between human beings look. The compassion, the heart opening, the understanding that yes, we are one. That we don't have to operate from our fear center. If a mother giving birth does not have to operate from her fear center, she can gift the world with an open heart, a sense of love, compassion and gentleness. This will radiate all over the globe. This is how we must look to birth. Not to be hard on ourselves, that is not necessary, but to be intelligent about birth and understand what does it gift us with. When we quiet the mind, when we lose that intellect, and just take a moment to meditate upon birth as a spiritual practice for contemplation and self-discovery with our babies. How different might birth look today? And that has always been my work in Embody Birth, is to look at how can we embody this beautiful somatic practice as birth keepers and as mothers with our baby, as our partners, as our families, as our humanity on earth. How could birth look when we take this approach and we have this kind of philosophical understanding of the true nature of birth's gifts? And that is what I learned in my births, especially in my birth with my daughter Amina at home when I was 46. I realized that birth is a spiritual practice, and we take that into our mothering. And it is in that consciousness we gift the world with what we have found out about ourselves as mothers, without judgment, without needing to justify and defend. This understanding and knowing that birth has given us, that mothering instinct has given us. It is there for a reason. It has a purpose. And so, when we embody birth through the gateway of spirituality, we look upon birth through different eyes. And that is what my gift is in my work of Embody Birth. So I thank you for listening to Curiosity and Harmonics as a birth preparation and how that might look in the world. So until next time, I thank you for coming and Namaste.